everybody, and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. It is South Africa A versus Bulls, and let me just quickly sort out whatever the hell's going on at the top there. This over here. Hey, you down there. Yes. It's South Africa A versus the Bulls today in Cape Town. A game we weren't supposed to have, but a game which I think was going to be quite a lot of fun, actually. So, yeah, it should be quite interesting. A lot of players getting an opportunity for SA. We haven't played a lot of rugby in recent times, so it'll be a nice opportunity for them to go into the park and stuff like that. For the Bulls, it's an opportunity to put themselves in, sort of Springbok selection. I mean, how better to know that the powers to be who would select you for a South Africa side or a Springbok side are the opposite coaches, and the chance that very few players get. When do we ever get to see our local sort of franchise players playing against our local side? You don't is the reality. So I think it'll be quite a cool little game. For both sides, I think there's a lot to be gained from the Bulls, and a fantastic opportunity for these players to impress the national selectors and to try and get themselves on the selection radar. For the SAA, a lot of these players are playing for potential positions in the test team next week. There's quite a lot on the line for both sides, and I think that for that reason, I think we're going to see quite a decent clash. I think it's going to be a case of the Bulls. Are the Bulls going to try and outwit the SAA? Or are they going to try? I mean, what do they try and do? What are their sort of tactics? I'm very interested to see how they decide to sort of go about their things. Do you try and really go after this SAA side and try and expose them for where they're weak? Do you try and front up at front? As the Bulls, do you stick to Bulls rugby? What do you do? How do you approach this game? Because it's not like it's a game that we see a lot of. So it's not like we've got past experiences or past examples where we can look back at similar games and they can say, oh well, this team did that team did this, because we've never really seen this type of game before, which is what makes it so exciting. But let's start jumping in the comments. Let's start we've got a poll running on who you think is going to win. SAA currently leading that poll up 70 votes with 88% of them reckoning the SAA should win, but 12% are backing the Bulls to be able to get a bit of a surprise victory. So let's start jumping in the comments. Let me know where you're watching from. Let me know what you think. Let me know, just let me know who's watching, really. Let's start smashing that like button. Let's try and get as many people into the chat as possible before kickoff, which is in just less than 25 minutes at the Cape Town Stadium. A double header at the Cape Town Stadium today, with the Stormers taking on the British and Irish Lions later tonight. We'll be live for that game as well. We'll also be doing a player rating show for both this game and the next game. So this player rating show will probably be live about 3:45, where we're basically going to go through all the both teams and sort of look at how they performed, look at all the individual players, rate them between 1 and 10, and analyze how they went up about it. So it should be interesting. I think that conditions, from the sounds of it, actually I don't really know. I think they've said that it's very different. Obviously, the Lions are saying it's quite different. They had very nice weather up in Johannesburg. It's been a bit wetter down in Cape Town. So if you're in Cape Town, maybe you can give us a bit of a weather report. Let us know how things are going down there, what it's looking like, what can we expect from the game itself in terms of conditions and stuff like that. It should be quite. I mean, so much rugby going on. We currently got France versus Australia going. We had New Zealand versus Fiji earlier as well. We've got Argentina versus Wales. That starts, I think, it's about 4:00. So it's been a day jam packed with sport. We had New Zealand versus Fiji, 60 points to 13 this morning. So not a particularly close game, and I think a game which Fiji probably would have liked to have done a little bit better in. And at the moment, you've got Australia currently leading France by just 1 point. So, if that France team can go try and do something special, that would be fantastic for them. Really be a display of the depth that they've got. I think France could be serious contenders when it comes to the 2023 World Cup. Because, at the end of the day, they've got some of the best. I think they've got some of the most exciting players in the world. The likes of Antoine Dupont's fantastic. Gregory Aldridge, fantastic player. Romain Intermac, when he really turns it on, can change the game on his head. So they've got some very, very good players to France. I reckon they'll be targeting that Six Nations title next year as a bit of a run-up or a bit of a lead-up, a bit of a confidence booster to try and make them contenders at home in 2023. A French side at home is not an easy side to beat. So, the longer that and the better they get and the longer they have together, I think they're cooking up something quite special in that French squad. But yeah, today for this stream we're going to be focusing on SAA versus Bulls. I know a couple of people are watching the Australia versus France game instead, which sort of kind of overlaps a little bit. But today we will be focusing in on what's happening down at the Cape Town Stadium. Let me know where you're watching from. I see Grant Swartz in the chat. Pinot van Beek and Henke Kunze. They are backing the Bulls today from the looks of it. So let me know who you're backing. What do you want out of this game as a Bulls fan? I mean, do you think this is a chance where some players can put themselves in national selection issues? Do you think that there are players who could be pushing for that box squad, or is this a nice sort of chance for them to get back to basics? I mean, I suppose for them it's a little bit of a warm-up game almost. They haven't played rugby in a while because they didn't get to play against the British and Irish Lions. So since that Pumas game. Back at Loftus, that was the last time the Bulls have played. So I suppose for a couple of players, it's a nice chance for them to sort of show Jake White that they can be played and they can be up for the selection and really sort of push for that sort of starting spot in the Currie Cup campaign. And a couple of very exciting players on display. We'll go through the teams in a little bit and talk about some very exciting players in both sides and some big performances needed, especially I think in the SAA side. There are a couple of players who really do need to stand up and put in a big shift. Because with what we don't know, we don't know what's going on with the rest of the squad in terms of Sia Khaleesi, Andre Pollard, France Mahebo, Diaga, when they're going to be back, when they're going to be available. It's quite a worrying time, I think, in that block camp. I think it's quite a lot of uncertainty of what exactly is going to happen in next week. So this will be another opportunity for these players to sort of put their hand up and say, well, if you can't get these people together, we can still start. We're good enough to be able to fill in for these players. So that's I think probably some of the permutations about this game. Which I think that obviously we should back the SAA to do quite well. I think they've got the players they've got are quality. There's no doubt about it. They've got quality players. But the Bulls side, it's probably not the strongest Bulls side in the world. They probably would be hoping for some players who would have been back and available, which they don't. Something like Marcel Coetzee not being able to play, that's quite a big blow. Having somebody like Albert Lowe, for example, who's still injured. So if he was back, that would be a very big boost for the Bulls. But it's still some very good players, and I think there's a couple of youngsters which are really worth looking out for, especially somebody like Ruan Nokia, who's been in fantastic form, and I think a lot of people are saying that he, could be part of the box squad already because he's been playing so well. So this is a chance for him to sort of say, and he'll be up against, somebody like Nicholas Janssen van Rensburg, who is arguably sort of the player keeping him out in many ways. And then, and we haven't seen much of Nicholas Janssen van Rensburg, so a chance for him to see exactly what he's all about today. Jean-Luc Dupré at lock for today, for example, a chance to sort of see how he's going to fare up. Is he a good option for next weekend? If we have a bit of a lock crisis, somebody who can cover a couple of positions depending on how he goes on today at lock. So those are things, both some of the sort of the sort of sideshows really. Something like Alton Yankees, can he sort of step up, lead the side really well, and do a bit of addition so that if Andre Pollard's not available, is he good enough to be backed? Can they rely on him? So that's what I think. Those are the parts that I'm sort of looking forward to. That's kind of how I'm sort of shaping up this game in terms of what I want to try and sort of see out of it and what I'm looking out for throughout this game. Let me know what you're thinking. What's your sort of thinking there in terms of the game and stuff like that. But yeah, so how is Grant Swan says, how is Johan Quist in early 28? He's been around since rugby went professionally, and that's, I think, we were talking about it a little bit last night. We were talking about. Sorry, it's a little bit of technical difficulties. We'll be back shortly. We're coming. I don't know why we're having issues with this. I think we should be okay. Yeah, I have a couple of technical issues. I don't know what the issue is. We might have to restart the stream before the game starts. We'll see how we go in the next sort of 5 minutes. Having a few connection issues. If we have any more issues, we'll restart the stream. In fact, I'm probably actually going to do that. I'm gonna tell you what. You guys don't have to do anything. I'm gonna keep chatting here, and I'm gonna create a new stream, and then we'll switch over to it now because this is, I think we're gonna have a couple of issues, so I'm gonna sort a few things out. But yeah, so in Zanzi Comic Club says, can someone needs to explain the difference between SAA and box? So the SAA is the official Springbok B team. That is what it is. The SAA, it's like being called Springboks B. So it's the official state. I mean, we used to have the emerging Springboks, and then we had and they also used to sort of combine with the SA under-20s. And then eventually, I think it was World Rugby said that you can't have your under-20 side as your official B side. So then they had to create a new side. That's where the SAA side came from. So that is technically where that is what the SAA is. So the official Springbok B side. So they don't play test matches because obviously it can only be a only your first side can play a test match, can play test matches and stuff like that. So any game that the Springbok A's play is not a test match. But that's the story. So like these players didn't get cast, for example, up against the Lions on Wednesday. They so like just like today, just like it's almost like a glorified friendly, really. Peanut and Bake says Hendricks would have been in the box spot if he wasn't suing SA Rugby. Yeah, a couple of off the ball issues there. Then Zan's commenting to First Sport dude. My name's Steven, by the way. Doesn't know the name. What's your favorite player from the 1997 British and Irish Lions squad? I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. It was kind of before my time. I mean, I was born in '96, so from when I watched it on my parents' lap, I wouldn't say I really have a favorite player. I mean, I try and thinking of the sort of the big names that were there. I think Johnson was the captain. I think. As I said, it was really before my time, so I would be lying if I gave you one. Obviously you've seen clips and stuff like that, but I think it's difficult to come away with a favorite player when you're not watching them live. So if I'm going to be honest, I don't have one because I didn't watch it because I was months old, literally months old. Wasn't even a year old at the time. When does the game start? Starts at 1 p.m. Starts in 10 minutes. I'm hoping that, in fact, I think we're actually going to be okay to be able to stay on the stream. I think that looks like going all right. So hopefully I will be able to stay on here. So I thought we were going to have to change over to a new stream. So, Ravi, thoughts on Yanam Milan? Oh, look, man can play cricket, hey? Man can play cricket. It was a fantastic innings by him yesterday. Really, really impressive stuff. I think he's got to start at the top of order for the Proteas. Okay, let me actually sort of settle in now. Now that we've had those couple of scares, it looks like the stream is okay, so we're going to be okay to stay on this one. Oh, snap, sorry. Fine, 2009. I mean, 2009 was a series where I sort of, I didn't really know what the British and Irish Lions were before they came, I suppose, being, 2009, I was 12, 13, so I was sort of starting to become old enough to understand, what the British and Irish Lions were, what the sort of game was. I suppose I was old enough to start actually having favourites when it comes to the Springboks and stuff like that. I suppose it's going to be Brian O'Driscoll. I loved watching Brian O'Driscoll when he played. He was my favorite. He was probably my favorite overseas player when I was growing up. There's a couple of big players in there. I mean, Shane Williams. I was a big Shane Williams fan. Ronan O'Gara was good, but probably O'Driscoll. I was always a big O'Driscoll fan. Yanniman, what innings I back this kid 100% to continue opening in ODIs going forward. Stephen, my name is Ray. Okay, there we go. I'm with you now. Who's going to restart at fullback if Lee doesn't recover? I don't really know. I mean, I think that, they can go with Colby probably makes the most sense just because he's been playing the most and he's available and we don't have to worry about him. Damien Willemse has been coming on at centre, so I'm not sure if they're going to stick him at fullback. They could, obviously. But I think that they might go Colby, and then you can play Makazole Mapimpi as well as Spiel and Corsi as your two wings, which would be a nice idea. Thoughts on Jasper Wiese replacing Dwayne at 8? Yeah, I think it's a big game for Quacker Smith today, because I think that we're waiting to sort of see who will take Dwayne's spot, who will be in, who are they going to back for Dwayne next weekend, because obviously we know that Dwayne Vermeulen won't be playing. So we saw Tez and Colby playing at fullback on Wednesday when there were a couple of injuries. I mean, to be fair, we also saw Jesse Creel playing at flank. So, I mean, I'd imagine that they'll go Colby. I think it makes the most sense to me, given the fact that we've got such world-class wings. But I think that I think Billy will be okay. So hopefully, you don't have to worry about him not playing or anything like that. But I would back Ches and Colby to slot in there, and then hopefully if we can get Makazole Mapimpi back and all 100%, then we can get Mapimpi and Spiel and Corsi as the two wings. I mean, a lot of people are saying that they want to see that sort of back three going forward. Spiel and Corsi, Makazole Mapimpi, and Ches and Colby as your back three, which would be a wild back three. Don't get me wrong. very interesting. Especially, I think Colby's sort of adding so much to his game now, isn't he? I mean, he's got that 50-meter drop goal, apparently. He's developing a kicking game. He's obviously devastating on the attack. Defensively, he's obviously proven that he can defend. So he's probably that's the easiest way to go, is to put Colby at fullback. You've got Upload Fast who's coming through. So a very big game for him to see how he goes today as well. As Grant Swart says, Colby just starting at fullback when Willie went off. Zadi Comic Club says Hani Broussard was the most impactful player, while Mornay was fantastic. Broussard made. Oh yeah, I thought you were talking about the British and Irish Lions players. I mean, for my Springbok players from 2009. Yeah, I mean, it had to be Hani Broussard. Jacques Fourie though. Jacques Fourie was my idol. I loved Jacques Fourie as a Lions fan. You know, the biggest chess in the world. He was a really, really good player, wasn't he? I mean, just a phenomenal player, world class. He was probably my favorite Springbok player at the time. I was a big Jacques Fourie fan. I was just dreaming of the backline. I suppose. Yeah, Colby, good shout. Just realized that two master tacticians will be riving each other today. Rassie versus Jake. Yeah, and that's what Jacques Univar said. He said, you know, Jake White's one of the best tacticians in the world, in world rugby. So he said, you know, he doesn't expect an easy game by any means, because it's, you know, he knows how good Jake is. And I suppose that's probably, you know, kind of what probably sort of also worked into deciding that to go with the Bulls. I mean, they were the easiest side in many instances in terms of not having played the British and Irish Lions and stuff like that. But I think if there was going to be a team that was going to be able to really sort of push the box as much as possible, it was always going to be the Bulls. And it was always going to be Jake White. You can try and sort of cook something up to try and really sort of counter the Springboks, or the SAA rather. Will Jacques Univar versus Jake with Rassie handling water around? Yeah, I'm sure we'll see Rassie on the side of the field again. I don't think he'll change that. I don't have much of an issue. I think people are blowing it out of proportion. I think that people are also blowing the comments that Warren Gatlin's out of proportion. I thought Gatlin was quite funny when he said that Rassie must remember to actually take some water on, because he wasn't. To be fair to Warren Gatlin, when Rasmus came on, half the time he had like a half bottle of water with like nothing in it. So I think it's just a bit of banter between them. I quite enjoyed it. I quite enjoy that. I also think that the English media spun what Rassie Rasmus said. I think that when he said that, he gave the reasons why the British and Irish Lions weren't going to play the SAA again, he was being 100% serious. He was saying, genuinely, it's not because they're scared of us. You know, it's because they want to play the original tour schedule. But obviously, you know, the UK media like to hype things up and try and sort of spin things, unfortunately. I've realized that more and more, actually, I suppose, being part of the press conferences. It's quite interesting, the sort of the types of questions that get asked. You know, SAA journalists are very much on the field. You know, tactics. Can you give away how will you play? Who will you play? What are your thoughts on this player? Whereas I think the UK media are far more sort of off the ball type stuff. You know, trying to sort of create tension between coaches, and what were you doing when you're in isolation and stuff like that, and can you tell us how training is going and stuff like that. So it's quite interesting actually seeing sort of the differences when you're in the actual press conferences. I mean, I'm not going to say there's a good way or a bad. I think the best probably sort of lies somewhere in the middle. But it is quite interesting how the different journalists do approach the different press conferences. Colby should have taken the drop goal that Stay missed on Wednesday. That was a stupid drop goal from Stay. I don't even know why he attempted it. He was under pressure. It wasn't well set. Both Colby and Fassi will not create the tries for the wings that Villiers do. They present a different threat. Oh, yeah, 100%. Villiers is a very unique type of player. You know, it's. I think Warwick Halant is the long-term replacement for Villiers. I would like to see him back at fullback. I think he's he's somebody that can create play. And it's quite interesting. John Dobson said that he might start playing Warwick Halant at outside centre, which I think could be a very, very good shout. If Faf gets started, who starts at 9? Probably Kobus Reinach. I think that based on the recent sort of form in club rugby and stuff like that. So one imagines that I think the fact that he's starting today probably sort of speaks to that. I don't think Faf will get started. I've heard nothing about it though, so I don't think we have to worry too much about that. Predictions for Stormers game tonight: Lions to destroy them. I think Stormers will do a bit better. I think Stormers will be able to last a little bit better earlier on. You know, although they have been guilty and maybe starting badly sometimes, but I think they've had they've had a long time to prepare for this game, far longer than any of the other unions. So they should hopefully be able to put together a much better performance. I think if they can just sort of keep within sort of 20 points, it'll be quite a good performance. I don't want to see another 50-pointer tonight. Not an essay. How many hours to kick off? 5 minutes. There's 5 minutes to kick off. So, Pinot from Vegas says, jokes, hope West Pros do well. What's the deal, Stephen? Are we playing this Rugby Championship this year? Who are the teams? Yeah, the enormous teams: Argentina, Australia, South Africa, New Zealand. The first game's on the 14th of August, I think. We play Argentina twice. We've got a week break, and then we're going over to New Zealand to play 2 tests in New Zealand and 2 tests in Australia. I'll get to your comments now. Let's go through the teams for the day, shall we? All right, so the home team today is the SAA side, and at fullback it is Apelele Fassi, Yao Penkler and Roscoe Speckman are the 2 wings. Wandisile Similani, the exciting lines out at centre, starts at 13. He's got Damien Dalendi inside him. The fly half and your captain for today for the SAA, oh my goodness, is Alton Yankees. Kobus Reinach will partner him in that halfback combination. The loose trio, Kwaka Smith at 8th man. Reynard Elstad, who I think has got quite a lot to prove, starts at number 7, and Markham will start. And once again, number 6. If Sia Khaleesi is not fit for next weekend, one imagines he will potentially start. We've got Nicholas Janssen van Rensburg and Jean-Luc Dupré as an all-new lock combination. Good to see Jean-Luc Dupré back in the South African setup. And a front row, Vincent Koch, Joseph Dwebe gets another start, and Kouani Oosthuizen starts at loosehead. Which is quite interesting. And then off the bench, the Sharks youngster, Faison Barter, Thomas Latoya, and new addition to the squad, Wilco Lowe. And then we've got Jasper Visa. I don't know who's this. Jasper Visa, apparently. Sorry. Then Sanela Nahamba, Spurn Corsi, Jess Creel, and Damien Willemse, as well as Liesel Boboka. So we'll have a sort of final confirmation on, in theory, it should be that 23-man bench. I think Liesel Boboka's there in case there are any sort of COVID cases and stuff like that, and they have to worry about, if he's not available for some reason or other. So we'll sort of wait and see exactly what the story is there. So I just want to get my sound sorted for the actual match. So I can hear what the hell's going on.
Wednesday night to South Africa A side this time.
In terms of the away side for today, your Bulls side, very, very exciting youngster, 20-year-old FC Du Plessis gets his chance. Marco Janssen van Vuren is on the wing today. We've seen how versatile he is, been playing everywhere. And Srinivas Jacobs will be on the other wing. Your centre pairing is Harold Forster and Cornel Hendricks. And then you've got Johan Goosen, who will start today. Very exciting to see what he does. He's got Zach Berger inside him at scrum half. The loose trio for the Bulls, WJ Steenkamp, Muller Ace, and Nizam Carr, who will be captaining the side. A lock trio of Ruan Nokia and Walt Steenkamp, who we've become quite used to seeing. And then you've got Jacques van Roer and Skulky Rasmus, who often comes off the bench. And then Simpiwe Mantanzima. Watch out for him. He's a very, very exciting player. Got a very good pair of hands. A very exciting player. Likes to run the ball a lot as well. He's got a bit of a goose steps. Is Mantanzima. Is a very fun player to watch. And then Johan Kromelaar, Gerard Steenkamp, and Mornay Smith is the front row. And you got Janko Swanepoel and Arno Buerta will cover the rest of the scrum. And then Keegan Johannes is your reserve scrum off today for the Bulls. And Chris Smith and David Creel will cover the rest of the front of the back line. So yeah, get your score predictions are. We are 2 minutes away from kickoff. Go away. 2 minutes away from kickoff, so start getting your score predictions, stuff like that. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the game, what you'd like to see happen, which players are exciting there, which sort of players sort of stand out. I'd really like to see what FC Du Plessis does, the very young Bulls fullback. On the bench, quite a lot of youth. David Creel and Keegan Johannes are 21 22. Janko Swanepoel also 21 years old. Some more sort of experienced. Arno Buerta is 29 these days. Quite a young front row off the bench. Kromelaar, Steenkamp, and Mornay Smith are all 23. But yeah, let's get your score prediction, stuff like that. I'm a Stormers fan, but I have little faith in them this evening, to be honest. Too many problems. That's John de Jong. Yeah, I think that John de Jong will be quite a big, quite an important player. I think they'll probably get him on quite early, actually, especially if things start going badly. Just sort my life out. Dupré as lock, that should be interesting. Yeah, I think that it's quite a big game for Jean-Luc Dupré. Trying to sort of see if he can if he can cover lock, it becomes a very useful player because with a bit of a lock prices in our hands. There we go. Right, so score predictions. Yeah, I'm just busy getting all set up. So we are finally set up. I'm all sorted. I hope you're all ready and stuff like that. Right, so good afternoon, Stephen. How's it going? Just for the fun of it, welcome. Pino from Vegas says 42-27 to the 80. Yeah, a nice high-scoring game. Will be quite an interesting watch. Are you ready for this one? Because I am. Yeah, I'm getting very excited. It's been a bit of a strange morning. I went to go and try and hit some golf balls, and it was too full, so I ended up just having breakfast. So it wasn't quite the morning I wanted to have, but we've now got some rugby, so that's always great. We'll obviously be we'll be doing our player rating show as well after the game. We'll be in the press conference with Jacques and Rusty and have a chat about what they thought about the game. And then we'll have our player rating show after that. So it's just all you have to do is stay on the stream, really. At the end of the stream, it'll then switch over to the player rating, and we can go and have a look there. So these are Kobokas in full kit. I don't know if we're being allowed a 9-man bench, if we can go up to 24, what the story is. But here come the SAA. Alton Yankees leading them out, the captain for today. Dexter Fernando says 15-12 half-time, 45-12 full-time for the SAA. So reckoning that the Bulls are going to sort of run out of steam a bit in the second half, which could very well be the case. Parker Smith, Alton Yankees, the two former Lions players who will be united now today in the box squad. I mean, nothing to lose really for the Bulls, do they? They really, if they lose today, you know, it's expected to lose. But if they can do something and get a victory today, then what a game it could be for them. So, you know, nothing. And I think that's why I suppose, you know, that when you've got nothing to lose and everything to gain, be scared of sort of sides like that, because they can go on to do something quite special. Jan Goosen's got the ball in hand. Maurice van der West is about to get us underway. And kick off. Right, we have got players right to left. And it's an early contribution for... Who was that? So it's a good takeoff out the ball there. It almost looked like Damien Willems. I'm a bit confused there. I don't know if it was Damien Delaney just looking a bit dark in the shade. But Kubus Radach kicking it ahead there. Early test for FC Duplessis. It's a fantastic take. It's a big hit on him from Reynard Alstad, but it's a good take from him. Now the Bulls on the halfway line. Runo Key at first receiver. Jan Goosen going deep. Harold Forster dabbed it in behind. That's well read. Oh, it's Apelele Fassi. That's who it is. So it's well read by Fassi. Kubus Reinach now. First touch of the ball for Jean-Luc Dupré. It's not a great carry. He's a bit upright there. He's tackled by Jacques van Rooyen as well as Tempiran Antanzima. Right, now Alton Yankees goes to the boot. Puts in an up and under. Chasing down as Roscoe Speckman. It's a nice contestable kick, and I think it's been spilled forward by the Bulls. They've got possession. And was there a knock on? No, apparently not. Zach Berger under a lot of pressure at the breakdown. A couple of players eventually coming through, so it's a nice good early up and under. They kick and chase from Yankees and Roscoe Speckman. Right, so now we're going to have Zach Berger's going to shave for the box kick here. Try and find a bit of territory. He won't find touched. Alton Yankees, who's fetched it eventually. He's going to put it up for Apelele Fassi to chase. Apelele Fassi got a lot of pace. He's gone quite deep as Alton Yankees. So, and it's knocked on from, I think it's Zach Berger. So it's not. I think it's hands up for FC Duplessis. It's a horrible knock on from him. He gets completely wrong. I think he had a bit of the sun in his eyes from the youngsters. So he knocks it on. We'll have our first set piece of the day. Lots of kicking early on, as we probably expect. And I think that it'll be a test of Alton Yankees to see if he can operate that kicking game. Yeah, I think Sun definitely an option. I reckon the SAA won the toss and decided they'll start left to right, so that Sun can try and sort of get rid of itself. Because it definitely does not look like it's fun to be playing in under that high ball. And obviously the SAA going to the boot quite a lot to try and put a very young FC Duplessis under pressure. So just for the fun of it, my prediction is SAA 72, Bulls 18. How can you watch this in the UK? I don't think it's being shown. I tried to find out to see if it was being shown. I'm not sure. So if anybody's from the UK and watching the match, let us know. Johnny Nelson's Bulls to win by 10. That's a very big call, Jean Renal. It's a pretty solid scrum. It's gone straight down. It's available at the back for Cocker Smith. who goes to Damien Dealendi. He's got one to see the similarity outside him, but goes himself. Gets him go forward ball up to the 10-meter are the SAA. Right, Nicholas Jansen van Rensburg at first receiver. Taking it up himself. Alcunha Oosthuizen almost feigned a bit of a pop inside and then put his head down. Now Reinach spots a bit of space over the top. He chips over the top. Oh, and how's it going to bounce? How's it going to bounce? Perfectly. Perfectly. That is the perfect kick by Kobus Reinach. It is rolled into touch just ahead of the flag. And there will be a 5-meter line out for the Bulls. So an early shown. That's very nicely worked by Kobus Reinach. Ball over the top there. Bulls under pressure here. Their first set piece is going to be a defensive line out. So, Skalki Rasmus under a bit of pressure immediately. Right, they go to Steele coming. Oh, and it's been charged down by Nicholas Jansen van Rensburg. I think it'll be a knock on. So we'll have another scrum. Zach Berger guilty of being a little bit slow with that. Nicholas Jansen van Rensburg almost darting on there. It was almost a little bit knocked down to a certain degree, but they've been judged a knock on. Yeah, Zach Berger asking to see if that was not a deliberate knockdown, but the referee judged it to just be a knock-on. So we'll have a scrum down for the Bulls on the 5-meter. So it's a nice chance for the SAA to really sort of exact some early pressure. Solid scrum from the Bulls. Now the pressure comes from the SAA. There's under pressure at the back is car. The scrum sort of collapsed a little bit, but it's available. Marco Verstappen trying to cause his side a bit of nuisance there, but eventually get it to the back, and Johan Goosen will introduce his boot for the first time, and that's a horrible bounce. Jasper Speckman thinking of maybe taking it early, but the bounce bounces over him. So Goosen, it's a decent clearance from him. It's a big game for Goosen today. He's under... I think he's a little bit on display. I think he will be a decent option to be able to bring into the box squad if need be, as someone who really is a utility back. And I think that he will be operating mainly as a fly half for the Bulls when he starts playing more regularly. Definitely will be the fly half during the Currie Cup. It's more sort of when Stain comes back, what do they do? But the SAA win, it's a solid lineup there for him. Joseph Dweber needs to have a nice day with the line. Struggled a little bit on Wednesday. So it's a nice early take there from SAA. They've got an advantage. So Kobus Reinach brings in Damien Dealendi, who wraps around to Alton Yankees, who goes to Upland Fassi. He's got Roscoe Speckman peeling around him, and Upland Fassi takes into contact, brought down by Cornel Hendricks. And we go back for the penalty. The side entry is the call there. Offside, I think it's actually now the call. So they go kick to the corner. Does Alton Yankees? I mean, I don't think we're going to see them going for poles. I mean, it's not really a press situation, so I don't think that we need to sit there and take all the points on offer and stuff like that. It was just a case of doing, it's almost a game where you just want to hit your straps. You want to make sure your lineout's operating well. You want to make sure that your scrums are going well, that you're getting go forward board with your backline. I don't think they'll be bringing out too many backline moves, for example. But an early more here for SAA, and I think Steenkamp's come straight through the middle. And it's come down. There's an advantage now for SAA. Now there's a penalty. So it came through the middle and then collapsed. It is the call. So it will be another penalty, and I'm sure that the SAA will go kick to the corner. Go to the back of the line now. It's once again Nicholas Jansen van Rensburg, who's been used a lot as the giant. He's the line specialist, so it's no surprise. It's a big counter shove there from the Bulls. I don't know where the ball is. It's somewhere down there. Kobus Reinach now trying to see if it's available. It looks like it will be for him. Right, Renan Alstad puts his head down. Solid hit on him from Johan Goosen and Nizam Carr. Oh, Kobus now going to Dupree. And it's come straight through the middle at Skalki Rasmus, and illegally so, playing Zach Berger, I think. So it's another penalty for SAA. So Alton Yankees will kick us out once again. Decent defense by the Bulls, but I mean, that's 3 penalties in a row. So they're now sort of erring on a little bit of dangerous territory in terms of a yellow card. And I'll tell you what, with the quality of the SAA, the last thing that the Bulls can afford to do. They're going to go with a scrum here, our SAA. So it's obviously a little bit further inside. It's probably just to the left of the pole. So scrum's probably a good option here. It'll definitely allow this back line to work a little bit of their magic. And I think there is a lot of magic in this back line. You've got spec magic. You've got Wanasila Similane. Some very exciting players in this back line. So I think scrum's a very nice chance. I mean, core here, you can go either side of the scrum. So Alton Yankees, I'm sure, will be standing pretty much right behind the scrum. And he'll leave it very late before he decides which way they're going to go. So you've got Fassi and Alton Yankees right behind the scrum. You've got Wanasila Similani sitting on the right. I think it's Damon Delini sitting on the left. Oh, it's a penalty to the Bulls. Penalty to the Bulls, and it's against Kuni Oosthuizen. So that is a massive letdown from the SAA. It's a perfect attacking opportunity. And Kuni Oosthuizen, who got out-scrummed in that final minute on Wednesday, needs to have a big day today, and that's not how you do it. But an early mistake now from Johan Goosen, who doesn't manage to find touch. Now Apelele Fassi will now try and counter-attack. Makes some decent ground. He's well into the SAA side now. Renock goes to his far half, goes to David Delindi, who decides to chip ahead. Trying to find a bit of space. And that'll roll out perfectly. Very nice awareness there from Damien Delindi. And they pin the Bulls right back up into their 5 meters. So a rare mistake from Johan Goosen, and the Bulls making them, well, the SAA making the Bulls pay for it. They pinned them right back on a 5 meter, and Bulls under all sorts of pressure. I mean, territory right now, I reckon it's been almost 10 minutes. We've got time off here from the ref, but I think of the 10 minutes we've almost had, I think we spent about 9.5 of it inside the Bulls 22. Just for the fun, this is Rugged Rugby is showing for the game Super Sport commentary. May they do that? No, that's very illegal. That is very, very illegal. So I can tell you right now, they're not allowed to do that. That's a big solid line there from the SAA. It's a much better clearance from Johan Goosen. That's what he needed to do first time with the penalty. So it'll be an SAA line out. Right, so yeah, no points on the board yet from the SAA. Opting to have gone with a lot of penalties. The solid line win there from Johnny Dupree. Alton Yankees goes to Damien Delindi. Wrapping around is Yao Penkler. They've created a decent couple of overlap there, but he takes it up, does Yao Penkler. Parker Smith with a solid run there. Kobus Reinach snipes himself. He steals Kobus Reinach. He's got Apelele Fassi inside. And Fassi is over. First try of the day. Far too easy for Kobus Reinach. Poor defending from the Bulls. Had the space in Reinach. Got inside there. Apelele Fassi had a lot of pace next to him. Easy ball inside. And Apelele Fassi is over. SA get the first points of the game. Yeah, so it's Marco Janssen Fury who's shifting to the right, creates a lot of space for Reinach, and he managed to get through it. And then Apelele Fassi, very good support running, inside ball for him. He goes straight underneath the pole, so it'll be a very easy kick here for Alton Yankees. So it should be 7-0. And yeah, first blood SAA. Very nice try there from the SAA. A little bit sloppy from the Bulls, who've actually defensively looked pretty good. But it's just a case of a little bit of a defensive lap, and it's amazing. And I mean, the quality of players on display at the moment, they'll punish you if you just switch off for a moment. That's exactly what happened. Right, so now Jan Goosen going off the stage. So off the kickoff, return the favor to the SAA, and Bulls are trying to attack here. Jan Goosen finding a bit of space. They've got themselves up to the 10-meter. Damon Delendi over that ball trying to steal it, but doesn't manage to do it. So Zach Berger goes to Ruan Okia. Inside ball to Sampiwa Mantanzima. Goosen delaying the pass there. And it's Steel Cup. And they've lost it forward at the Bulls after a fantastic run there. I think they actually had an advantage to the Bulls. Much better from the Bulls. They're trying to run it there, finding a bit of space out wide. Jan Goosen, delaying the pass there, so he managed to put Streamer Jacobs into a bit of a gap. They've got the penalty, so they kick down to the corner. So it's a nice chance for them to try and hit back with some points. We're on Nokia. It's a solid take from him at the front of the lineout. The big carry there. Now they're going to Skalke Rasmus down the blind side. It's a very nice carry initially there by WJ Steenkamp. Right, now we saw the SAA had a very dogged defense on Wednesday, so can we see a similar thing for them now? He's Car carrying it up. Solid defense by SAA. Bulls trying to get over the advantage line. That's their 6th phase now. Pick up and go. Mantanzima. The penalty advantage here from the Bulls. I think offside is the call. So they're trying to use it. Inside ball from Harold Forster, but he's well wrapped up. And I think that they'll slow that ball down and we'll go back for the penalty. I think it's against offsides is the call. Jan Goosen thinking about taking it quickly, but I'm sure they'll slow it down. 5 and 3 offsides. That's Vincent Koch and Nico Janssen van Rensburg who are guilty of giving away the penalty there. Let me see another tap and go. Tap and go is the call here. A couple of pick up and goes here. I mean, the SAA side, we saw how good their defense was on Wednesday. So it's another big test here under a lot of pressure. Van Staden and Dweber and Delendi. Goes to Dweber not getting his hands on that ball. Being told to leave it though. Pick up and go again. Skalke Rasmus almost pops up on the inside. Another advantage goes to Dweber. And Tanzima goes himself. He goes away, but it's Kwaka Smith who's very aware of the threat, and he's won it legally as Kwaka Smith, but there was a penalty advantage, so they go back for the penalty. So I mean, we saw the British and Irish Lions tap and go a lot on Wednesday. So I mean, I think the Bulls are looking to try and do a similar thing. They seem to be in discussion here, trying to decide what they're going to do. They've called for a scrum here of the Bulls. That's a very big vote of confidence in their ability. Oh, scrum there. It's picked up and go from WJ Steenkamp, and A couple of players weren't really awake. They ran out Alstad almost being it. Corner Hendricks cuts inside. Runs over Jean-Luc Dupria, who's clutching his knee. Oh dear, we're going to see a yellow card here for SAA. I guess want to see the similar line. It's offside, but this doesn't look good. Jean-Luc Dupria is down, clutching his knee. I think he's off, by the way. I think he's done his knee here. Oh my goodness, this is the last. Literally, of all the. I mean, meanwhile, want to see the similar line has been sin bin for being offside at the scrum. This doesn't look good for Jean-Luc Dupria at all. So I haven't added the 2 extras yet. You can see, like, the way he goes down, his boot gets stuck and the knee goes over. You can hear from the sharp. That doesn't look good at all. We've got a bit of a lock crisis at the moment in the Springbok camp, and that's the last thing we could afford to have happened. He looks like he's going to try and continue. It didn't look good, though. He's trying to run it off, so hopefully it wasn't as bad as initially we thought. What are you doing there? And the biggest problem is we don't actually have a lock on the bench at the moment because we've only got Jasper Wiese on the bench as loose cover. So I suppose Renat Ulster would have to go into the second row. Couple of players in there. We've got Malcolm Marks in his bucket hat. All the Etzebeth and all the players there watching on. Bro, you went to Rhodes. Vickers, yeah, how's the Vickers? You well? That's WJ Steenkamp looks very good. Yeah, he does look very good. I mean, they've just got loose forwards coming out of any blooming nook and cranny over there in Pretoria. Thanks, Garage. I got to it there. I was just trying to sort out a few things here with the rating show, which will be live for later. It'll take you straight there. So if you just stay on the stream afterwards, we'll go straight to the rating show and we can get involved. We'll be live there about 4:45, where we basically rate all the players between 1 and 10. We'll be doing the same thing for the Lions game as well. Well, Jean-Luc Dupria is going to continue for now. I don't know. I mean, it didn't look particularly good, and I hope he doesn't further aggravate it because, yeah, we're really short on locks at the moment. And I suppose, you know, for somebody like Ruan Okia, a big game, yeah, it's a huge scrum from the Bulls, by the way. How was this SAA side being outscrummed by this Bulls side? It's actually unbelievable. I don't know if it's Cooney or Oosthuizen, but I'll tell you what, players are not putting their hand up to try and get into that test team at the moment in the front row. Bulls on the attack here, just a couple meters short. Under a lot of pressure now, SAA. Pick up and go from Skalki Rasmus. Blackburn going to Johan Goos. An inside ball to Harold Forster. He went straight into Marco Verstaden. Kwagga Smith is there trying to grab it. Oh, he's knocked it on. Knocked backwards. Penalty advantage here from the Bulls. It's a big carry. They're over the try line, but it's going to be held up by Joseph Dwyer. We'll go back for the penalty. And I'll tell you what, SAA could actually be under a bit of threat from losing a second yellow card with the way things are going. In all sorts here are the SAA. Yeah, so Alton Yankees being told that the team needs to sort the discipline out, being warned that we could have another man in the bin if they don't sort out offsides and stuff like that. And funny enough, this is actually something, even the other, and I say the other because it is completely, it's the same team technically, SAA, same jersey, stuff like that, but it's a completely different side that played on Wednesday. I think there's only 3 players that actually starting today that started on Wednesday. And tough luck for Similani, who, you know, jumped the gun a little bit. And he's had no boys, had nothing to do so far, and he finds himself in the sin bin. But, you know, discipline was an issue for the other SAA side. They gave away a lot of penalties up against the British Irish Lions, who, if they had taken that opportunity, you know, probably actually would have won the game. So it's an area that they'll be a little bit worried about, I think, with the Springbok managers. Just need to try and sort the discipline out. But something that is actually becoming a bit of a worry now is this front row, who are currently being outscrummed by a junior in Mantanzima, second string hooker in Skalki Rasmus and Jacques Frenoy, and he's got a lot of experience. Does Jacques Frenoy, but I mean, when you think of Vincent Koch, Joseph Dwebe, and Quinn Ostage, and they should not be being outscrammed over here. So it looks like we've got Jean-Luc Deprier on the flank here at scrum time. I don't know if that's because I'm trying to remember if he was there in the first time. I'm not sure if it's because of his knee that they're trying to protect or if it's for defensive. That's a much better scrum. That's a much better scrum. Just when we were saying that they're under pressure and they can't be outscrammed, the SAA respond. That's a huge scrum. They outscrammed the Bulls, won a penalty. Quinn Oosthuizen, they're all very chuffed. They needed that because I'll tell you what, you cannot be outscrammed by the Bulls and then say, "Oh, listen, I'm ready to play in the test next week." So they needed that, and they've come good, have the SAA. This is all good, bro. As well, proud of you. Thank you. Kunia says he's scrumming himself out of the Springbok team. Well, he's given himself a bit of a second chance there. It's a much better scrum from him. What story with Pollard, Mahabi, Imbanami, and Khaleesi all have COVID? They're all still isolating. From what I understand, they don't have COVID, but they are isolating. Whether they'll be involved next week, it sounds like they probably will be. But we actually don't really know when they'll be available, when they'll be able to link up, what the story is. Right, so just past the 22 here are the SAA, and it's a penalty. Not straight is the call. Sorry, I thought I had an arm, but it's not straight against Joseph Dwebe. And this is the problem we're talking about on the live stream last night, that Joseph Dwebe is a fantastic player in the loose. But, you know, that's now a second line of infringement that we've seen from him. And that's what Malcolm Marks benched, you know, his lack of set piece solidity. And now we've got similar issues with blooming Joseph Dwebe. So, I mean, is it not hard just to be able to find a hooker who can throw the ball in straight? I don't feel like it's that big of an ask. So another scrum here now. It's not the worst result for the SAA, who had a very, very good scrum earlier, which won them that penalty when they line out they lost. Once again, Johnny Tapir packing on the flank. WJ Sticker picks up the back. Oh, and he's just sold that's just sold Cornel Hendricks down. And they've turned over the ball of SAA. It's knocked on from Marco and started. That's disappointing. Bit of a difficult pass there for Marco Starr, but probably should have hung on to it. I think if he was running onto it, which what Elton Yank was wanting from him. But I'll tell you what, WJ Steerkamp has just sold. He needs to buy some drinks tonight because he just lobbed the pass to Cornel Hendricks, and Damien Delendi has absolutely demolished him in the midfield. We'll have another scrum. It's all becoming a bit messy down there in Cape Town Stadium. Yeah, it's all falling apart after an extended period of pressure in the SAA. Now extended period of Bulls is now getting a bit sloppy. Has a horrible pass, easily turned over from. And I mean, and it's high here. So as Cornel Hendricks is coming down, he's being absolutely smoked by Damien Delendi. Cheers, mate. Cheers. Right, so another scrum here. We haven't really had go football for the SAA to work with yet in any sort of opportunity. That's a big. The scrum's gone down. It's available for the back. And it's a scrum for the Bulls. And it's against Quinny Oosthuizen. I tell you what, Quinny Oosthuizen, I don't think he's going to be part of the test squad if he's going to do this. He's won one penalty and conceded two. I think Vincent Koch as well is also guilty of this. So these two props are not having a good time. And our two props on Wednesday didn't have a particularly good time. I thought Kitsoff was all right. But yeah, I tell you what, if you're going to get outscrammed by these two, then as far as I'm concerned, we will take Mantanzima and Blooming Jacques Vernoren into the squad. Because really... Oh dear. Oh dear. Quinny Oosthuizen has been replaced. He has been replaced. Quinny Oosthuizen is off, and they've just put on Thomas du Toit at Lucid. So that's a big L for that's a big L for Quinny Oosthuizen, who got a chance today. And well, I'll tell you what, if you've been pulled off 23 minutes after conceding two scrum penalties, I think that's your chances of starting that test gone, eh? MC, thanks, and if Khaleesi doesn't start, I'm or Yemen captain. I'll be Lakanya, I think, especially with how he captain on Wednesday and how he played. Bulls props giving them a hard time. Bulls props absolutely decimating at them. I mean, they've lost one scrum. Quinn also has been pulled off in the first 25 minutes, so that's a horrible way for Quinn to try and make an audition. So Thomas Atoy on that loose set now has crumbled in between there. They picked up and go. Has Quacker Smith out the back there. SAA under a lot of pressure here. Goes back to Alton Young. He's got plenty of time to try and boost it upwards. Decent angle. That's a nice clearance from him. Finds touch just sort of about 10 meters on from the 22. So still inside their own half of the SAA. Under a lot of pressure. And it's another line cue. This time it's from Skalky Rasmus, so it's fine. But I mean, what is going on with our hookers? Why can't we throw balls in straight? We've now Joseph Dweber's done it now. Skalky Rasmus has done it now. You've got, I mean, as a hooker, I understand the hookers now are so much more than just line-out specialists and part of the scrum, but it's your bread and butter. That should be your bread and butter. Before, as a hooker, you become a fetcher and you want to try and add fancy offloads and run down the flanks and stuff like that. You've got to be able to throw that ball in straight. And that's what's not going well at the moment. So, yeah, Rusty Russ was once again on the side of the field with his bib. He won't be happy watching this. I'll tell you what, I don't think there are any SAA players who at the moment are covering themselves in any sort of glory. Maybe April Fassi, but, you know, the forwards have not dominated at all. Quacker Smith now bursting down the blind side. Reinhardt goes to the boot. It'll stay in field though. FCDPC. That was almost so well read by Yao Penkler. It's been a brilliant take by Cornel Hendricks. And the Bulls on their counter attack. They're going out wide. Oh, the pass doesn't go. Hale Force tries to knock it back. And up in the Fassi almost onto it. And eventually Studio Jacobs has to kick it into touch. Very, very messy there. It was a telegraph pass. And Yao Penkler looked like he was going to bring his footy skills in and go over. But a brilliant take from Cornel Hendricks to get them out of jail. I'll tell you, this SAA side looks like a side that hasn't played together. They really do. They're looking very messy at the moment. Line-out win here. So Joseph Dweber will control it at the back. He needs to string together a couple of line-outs here, because I tell you what, if he's going to keep putting it in straight, he's not going to be able to play for the box. And he's come across by himself as Joseph Dweber. It's available for Kobus Reinhardt. Jacques Van Nooyen trying to cause all sorts of trouble. Similani should be back in a couple of seconds and will need to try and redeem himself after that yellow card. Nicholas Janssen van Rensburg carrying it up. Kobus Reinhardt going to go to the boot now. Now Penkler is chasing hard. Jacobs spills it, but his car is there. Shrugs off Vincent Cock, who eventually makes the second tackle on the second attempt. Zach Berger goes to Ruan Alkier. Runs into the two locks. Duprier and Vincent van Rensburg. The next breaker play, we will have Similani back on the field, and hopefully we'll see him with more ball in hand. Be able to see exactly what he can offer us. Berger goes to Gerson, who loops it out wide. Oh, he's under a lot of pressure. Oscar Speckman's tearing it up. So Marco Jatzman Furen has now got the pace on Damien Delindi. What's he going to do? Cuts inside. He gets wrapped up by Delindi and Quacker Smith who make the tackle there. Oscar Speckman was there as well. They're going to the left now. All the Bulls. There's a lot of space out there. Numbers. It's just stop being so bloody fancy. That's Skalky Rasmus. I mean, you got Skalky Rasmus trying to just, do the little tap-on pass. Mate, you're a hooker. Just take the ball and pop the thing. So complicated. I don't know why you need to do that. They had a two-man overlap. He could have grabbed that, drawn the man, popped inside, no issues. So, yeah, I mean, the Bulls guilty of being a little bit too fancy there, but they were almost, I'll tell you what, Marco Jans van Vuren was almost down there on the wing there, cuts inside. Damien Lindy was lacking a little bit in the pace, and that Marco Jans van Vuren didn't sort of slow up because they had uploaded fast. Well, Quacker Smith actually sitting back there defense. It would have been interesting. Messi line win. Messi. Reinach under a lot of pressure. Will have to chip ahead for himself. And he'll chip a strange touch. Oh, my living. This looks like a bloody pub game at the moment. This last 10 minutes, it's all sort of falling apart. The intensity's coming down. The mistakes are creeping in. We're seeing skew throws. We're seeing kicked into touch. We're seeing messy lineouts. As I say, I don't think there anybody in this SAA side that right now is saying, listen, boss, I'm ready for that test match next week, because it has not been a good first half. And once again, doing the right of the Bulls. Oh, and Marco Jansen Ferreira spilt it forward. If he managed to take that, it could have been quite interesting off the back of the scrum there. Only the line out. They've been pinned back over the Bulls with the kick ahead. I think it was from Fassi. That's Reynard Ulstad to come through. Apparently, legally, the Bulls weren't happy with that. John Lutte Perez to tackle and trying to win it on the ground. And he has, but it's been won back by WJ Steenkamp. The Bulls almost up to the halfway line. Zach Berger going to Johan Goosen. Dummies one. Now kicks in behind. It's a bit of a strange kick. I think it'll work out. It'll hold. So the Yankees will now return the favor. And I think he just needs to find touch to slow things down. Yeah, he does. Decent touch finder. He gets up to past the 10 meters. But this SAA side, oh, it's just horrible. The forwards are horrible at the moment. Oh, they take it quickly of the Bulls. Cornel Hendricks going himself. Wrapped up by Nico Youngster from Rensburg. We'll come to the comments now when things just sort of relax a little bit. Ntanzima is wrapped up by Dweber going himself. Zach Berger, I think we've got Jaden Goosen back in the pocket from the looks of it. Yeah, he'll put up an up and under. He's got a couple of chases there, so this will be a big tester for, I think it's Elton Yankees. He spills it backwards and it's cleaned up by Kwaka Smith. He's been quite active with Kwaka Smith, doing a lot of cleaning up at the moment. Hasn't had a lot of sort of clean ball for himself to really use. Now Janssen van Rensburg carries it up. Falky Rasmus on that ball there. Kobus Reinach almost caught on it. Alton Yankees going to the boot. Jalpenkle will chase it. It's very contestable, but he's been blocked as Jalpenkle, and coming back was when you see the sun line. He's back on the pitch and he's under a lot of pressure. The ball pops out. It's very scrappy at the moment. Upper Fassi now takes it up on the halfway line on the right hand side of the pitch. Oh, it's a horrible, messy watch. Reinach now goes to Jean-Luc Dupree. I think we just need a couple of phases here to the SA. Just need to try and sort out a bit of structure. Reinach goes to Melton Yankees. A flat pass for Ransford Rensburg. He's finding a bit of space. Gets the offload. And Vincent Koch who gets the offload. That looks a little bit forward from Joseph Dweber, who carries it up. Better from the SAA. Now Reinach goes to this side of Elstad. You've got Alton Yankees wrapping around. He gets to Similani. Pass out wide. Goes to Delendi, who knocks it on. Oh my goodness. This is a horrible watch. It's so messy. I can remove the yellow card now. I mean, the game started off with a lot of promise, but it's become very messy. I think they had an advantage. It's a penalty for the SAA, so Alton Yankees will kick this towards the corner. But this has been a horrible, messy game, and I think, if I'm honest, the Bulls forwards are currently outclassing the SAA. I mean, they're fronting up there. They've won scrums. They've been very solid. Exam Carl's looking good, and there's just no front foot ball for this SAA backline to try and get into the game. You know, they're going out wide and finding space to the Bulls. They're beating players. I mean, if Marco Janssen Ferreira had taken that pass earlier, I reckon he could have had an interesting sort of run in there. But anyway, the SA have kicked towards the corner, so a big win, big line opportunity now for Joseph Dweber. Yeah, Johan Koval's on for Skalki Rasmus, so Jacquard also wielding the sword. Well, it's gone straight down, has, I think it was Kwaka Smith at the back of the line up there. Vincent Koch picking up and going. So Reynard Ulstad, the man who took it. So there we go. We were asking if Reynard Ulstad's line option. Well, there he was. Solid defense by the Bulls as the SAA take it up, and they've knocked it forward. Oh, my living. Well, I'm not sure what Jacques Nienaber and Rassi Rasmus were expecting from this game, but I don't think they were expecting their team to struggle. So it's just the sloppiness of it, really. You know, Thomas Totoy carrying it up, Dr. Toy, and he just drops it. He just drops it before he even takes it into contact. He just spills it forward. Is it like every single prop is trying to make sure they don't play the test match next week? I mean, who would you start as your props at the moment? Thomas Toy has come on. He's had 2 scrums that weren't particularly impressive. Now dropped the ball on. Kuni Osazen was hooked at 23 minutes because the scrummaging was so poor. Vincent Cox also not been scrummaging brilliantly. Trevor Nkani was horrible on Wednesday. We've got no props apparently. Talking about how amazing our props are. Put on Izot Boboka. That man should be in the box squad. Put him on. Yeah, let me go to the comments. That's the end of Cornelius in the buck. I'll tell you what. The wind in that stadium can be tricky. It could be causing the issues with line-out throws. Bring on Jan Krobolov. Very scrappy game. There was a bad pass to Milani. There's been a couple of bad passes in between the... So, I mean, the knock-off from Damien Lynn. Oh, the Morris van der Beest has been taken out here. Another good carry from Steenkamp. And Jan Goosen, you see, this is a bit of worry because the SAA side have been coming up very quickly. And Goosen has done that 2 or 3 times where he's just delayed the pass and cut inside. So I think Damien Lynn needs to be a little bit careful. We know that the Boks like to operate with that very quick rush defense where they kind of sort of rush in and try and sort of force the ball out wide. But it has to usually be quite a floated pass which allows them the time. So under pressure, Johan Goosen goes to the boot and will try and find touch, but he doesn't. So up to left fast, he's got Roscoe Speckman outside him. Fast is going himself. He's wrapped up by FC Duplessis and held Forster, and it's a penalty on the ground. And Mark van Staden has gone straight over off his feet. It's basics. It's just the basics at the moment. It's really, really poor. And I mean, look, I think the Bulls are playing well, but I think that the SAA are doing a lot of the jobs for them. This is interesting. Trevino Jacob is going to kick this left boot. The Bulls have played well. They're doing really well to stay in this game, but the SAA are just looking sloppy. Knock-ons and bad scrummaging and skew throws and going off your feet at the breakdown. That's just basics. Yeah, I mean, Mark van Staden just swan dives over the top of it. Not a good show. Not a good show. Line win here. Oh, it's a very good run there. I had Forster who's burst through. And it's an intercept made. I think I want to see the Similani who's been dragged down to the ground was Quacker Smith. Joseph Draver filling a scrum half and updated Fasty will use his left boot. He's a bit of space down the right-hand side of the field. And Roscoe Speckman is tearing after this. Jan Goosen is there to clean up. Roscoe Speckman's all over him. And it's become off, so it'll be an SAA line-out. Very, very good chase there from Speckman. It was good awareness by Upland Fassi, who spotted the space in out wide, put it onto his left boot. Wasn't trying to find touch, and it was a harrowing chase by Roscoe Speckman. He put Jan Goosen under a lot of pressure and eventually forcing the ball to come out. It will be an SAA throw, putting her into the line-out inside the 22. And against Tabby Furlong, we are going to get destroyed by scrums. So that's the problem. I think the British and Irish Lions, I think their scrum is like one of their biggest assets. So the fact that we can't scrum at the moment is worrying signs. Please do continue smashing that like button. It's another messy line win there from the SAA. I think we could see Fez and Barty onto the pitch quite soon after that. I think Joseph Draver was having a horrible time with the lineouts. It has worked out quite nicely. There's a bit of front football here for Joseph Draver, who just takes eyes to go down. Quick ball now for Reinach. Delendi a little bit sort of stationary. Eventually gets away with it. Reinach now will go to... You want to see the Similani? It's a very low pass. Well held on by the outside centre, who then sort of just goes down. Mark van Staden now. Comes inside. Making a few meters. A couple of Bulls players all over that, but it's available for Kubas Reinach. Now he goes up to Fassi at first receiver. He goes over to the top. It's a bounce pass for Roscoe Speckman. Inside ball to Similani. Similani's found a bit of space. Inside ball, Thomas the Toy. Can't get over. He's right there. Speckman out wide. And Similani is over. Better. A lot of space there. A couple of good offloads there. Much better from the SAA. I want to see that Similani has redeemed himself and got himself over for a try. Was actually quite instrumental in that with his sort of... They went to, obviously, up in the fast. He went over the top, and it took a bounce against Speckman, so he had the awareness to draw in 2 players, go inside to Similani, who then stuck in a couple of players, offload to Thomas Toy, who came within inches, and then they went back down the left-hand side there. You can see Ross Speckman filling it at scrum half. There was so much space that Similani had, he just walked over that, really. So SA are over, and probably undeservedly get a second try with the way that they've been playing in the last 38 minutes. And the Bulls... I suppose you've got to make your opportunities count. But at the moment, we're going to go into half-time 12-0. And I reckon they're going to be in for an absolute rollicking. Grant Swartz says that it's such a stupid penalty to give away from Escom. Yeah, I mean, really, to go and just straight over the ruck. It's just poor. Right, Alton Yankees is a kicker doesn't favor his side on about 10 meters in from the left-hand side. Obviously, as a left footer, he's going to have to try and start this towards the left and see if he can try and curl it in. If it starts too straight, it'll probably curl away. Yeah, it does. No, it can stay straight. That's a fantastic kick. Really, really nice kick there from Yankees. It sails through the middle. Nice and straight was that kick. So we've got 14-0. Yeah, it's good awareness by Ross Speckman. And then similarly, the step away just takes away 2 players, commits 1, inside ball, Thomas Toya. He comes right before the line, and Speckman just throws it back up to Similani, who's there. Good awareness. They've gone deep there, have Bulls, and Demi Delindi underneath it. Gets wrapped up by Krobala, who's on the pitch in his red scrum cap. And yeah, 5 seconds to go. As far as I'm concerned, go and have some. Well, the Bulls now have some oranges. I reckon we give some lemons to the SAA so they can wake up. Ryan will not find. He will find touch. The siren is gone. So they're taking it quickly. They have the Bulls. Spun around out of the tackle has Johan Goosen. So the Bulls on the front foot here. They want to try and see if they can get something before half time. What's a big tackle on Steenkamp from Thomas du Toit. Vincent Cochran, I think there might be a penalty. No, they've got it there. And Tanzin now carrying it up. So the Bulls on the 10-meter line towards the left-hand side, trying to get something before half time. Jacques van Rooyen shrugs off a big hit from the 2 props. Jan Goosen, they can't really kick it, so they're going out wide. It's a horrible pass to Nizam Carr, who gets away to Harold Forster, who cuts back on the inside. Sees a bit of space at Harold Forster, carrying it up. Going out wide, Johan Goosen, they're going, oh, that's a hot, they've been throwing a lot of 50-50 passes, and that pass from FC Duplessis. Surely forward, no, well, they're still going. Shavina Jacobs is still going. Has to stay in. Has managed to stay in somehow, so the ball is still, no, they were going to go out, so we'll have half time. I thought the pass out there from FC Duplessis was forward, but no was the call. So half time in the Cape Town Stadium, a very, very messy half. 14-0 is the score in favour of the SAA. And I don't think too many players are ready to put their hands up there. It really has not been a particularly. It's been a pretty damning performance, I think, is the honest word for SAA. And the Bulls making. I mean, I think the Bulls should have scored some points there, but the SAA making this look very, very difficult. So half time in Cape Town, 14 points to 0. I'm gonna take a bit of a short break. I'll be back with you guys in a little bit. And then we'll do a little bit of a stat attack and look at exactly what went wrong. Actually, I don't know if we're going to have stats for this because it's been put together so late. So we will do a bit of a... I'll try and see if I can find some stats and stuff like that, and we'll talk about that. I just want to try and fix the scoreboard, so it's half time. Please do continue to smash the like button. As you can see, we're well over 2,500 likes, so we're now trying to chase 2,600 on the way to 3,000 subscribers. It's been a really good few weeks, so please continue smashing that like and invite your friends. Grant Swart says the grass is too short. This is still a football pitch. This will not help our steppers in the test match. Yeah, lots of people are stepping in this game. I think you need to get a bit of longer studs there. Dan has matched the ball. It hasn't been great. What's your view on Flyhouse being captain as opposed to front rows or forwards in general? I think Flyhouse are all right as captains. I think that they're kind of the general of the team anyway, and they're close enough to the referee in the ruck. I think when it comes fullbacks, it becomes a bit difficult just because they're so far away from everything. Bulls not too bad. Expected much bigger points difference. Agreed. Johan Goosen is looking dangerous on attack. Yeah, he had a slow start to the game with that early kick, which wasn't great. But he looks like he's trying to create a few things. But the rush defense is definitely putting the Bulls under a lot of pressure. But they're dealing with it quite well. A couple of players have spun out around tackles, and a couple of quick offloads have sort of nullified their rush defense. So I think the biggest sort of worry is that I reckon the Bulls are kind of exposing a few shortcomings in the SAA. Look, it's very far away from what will be our test side. But even so, I'm going to take a bit of a break, and I'll be back with you guys in just a little bit. Right, we're back. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Forever Rugby on Forever Sports. It is South Africa A versus the Bulls, and it's been quite a messy affair down in Cape Town. So 14 points to 0 is the scoreline. The Bulls guilty of not being as clinical as the SAA have been, who have punished them, when they've needed to, but they've been pretty average. Have the SAA. We'll look at some of the comments. Grant Swart saying, "What a messy game." Vickers says, "Messy game." Quanta says, "Time to bring in Spoon Corsi because Yao Penkla has been horrendous." Mrs. Bocker must be aware Bulls notorious for not going down without a good fight. 14-0 can surprisingly becomes 14-20. To go Bulls go. Is this game on Supersport? Yes, it is on Supersport. It's on Supersport Grandstand, I believe. Yeah, it's just a bit of it's been a messy. I think Messi's very accurate. It hasn't been a great game. I haven't been particularly impressed with what I've seen. So they need to do a lot better than this because it hasn't been good enough. It hasn't. So what do we want to see in the second half? Well, I think first of all, I think Kuni Urste is in a lot of trouble. I mean, Nick Mallard reckons because they've got 3 loose heads, they're going to sort of go 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. I reckon there was a certain amount of Kuni was under a lot of punishment, and I think I think a lot of it's been he's been taken off because he was bad, because he wasn't good enough. So I think there's a lot of that in it, to be honest. Yeah, frustrating to see Kuni Urste play so poorly. So the teams are back. Alton Young's got the ball in hand. He'll be getting things underway in the next half. Right, there goes the whistle. The Krabbelaars on for the Bulls. SAA goes pretty short, about 22. Just saw a take by Ruan Okia, taken early by Jean-Luc Duprier. We need to see a much more clinical, a much better game from the SAA. The forwards need to start dominating. That's the problem. They just haven't dominated. Van Rooyen was off for Mornay Smith. So, bit of a fumble there from Yankees, but he's got it again. So he'll put it up and under him to chase for Apple Fassi. It's well taken by David Creel, who's on the pitch. I don't know if he's on for FC Du Plessis. It's a nice tackle from Alton Yankees on him. And I think that looks like, so I think it's both props are on for Bulls. Kicking behind here, Roscoe Speckman is tracking back. He's got Alton. Oh dear, that's a horrible bounce. And that's a bit poor from Roscoe Speckman. He's a little bit, I think, casual there, and the bounce is suddenly taken, and the SAA are under pressure. As I said, a lot of these SAA players have been given the chance to try and impress today, and a lot of them aren't taking it yet. I think, substitutions for the SAA, I'd like to see Damian Willemse on at inside centre for quite a bit. I reckon him and Similani and Alton Yankees can try and cook up something quite special. I just don't think there's anybody in this SAA who can right now say that they put in a really good performance. It's been pretty. Every single player, I think, has had a couple of issues. I think Nico Jans van Rensburg's been pretty solid at the line-out, mostly. Even De Lendy's been guilty of being a bit sloppy. Trying to go for a more, and they've been completely driven back towards their own touchline. They've used it though. And Kwaka Smith is getting away from a couple of people. Eventually runs into, I think, Stravina Jacobs. No, sorry, it was. I think that's Steenekamp. Kubas ran off now. Will kick them out of trouble. Goes to the box kick. Roscoe Speckman is chasing. It'll be very contestable. Goes up. It's FC Du Plessis takes that, which means that David Creel, I think, is on for not Harold Forster, Marco Jansen and Fury, and FC Du Plessis is shifted to the wing. Vic says the SAA need to keep the ball more and the game will get more exciting. They're giving the Bulls too much possession. The Bulls can't really dominate. Hope for a better performance from the Bokke. Yeah, it almost looks like we're trying to treat this as a test match. With the way we're seeing, all the kicking ahead and stuff like that, we're not really playing the game that a lot of these players would like to play. Behind a good scrum, Alton Yankees does not want to put lobbing up and unders for Roscoe Speckman to go and chase. Roscoe Speckman is going to want to do more than just chase down kicks. You've got one to see the Similani in that midfield. You've got Apple Fassi joining up. You've got Roscoe Speckman. You've got some explosive players. Let's get them running. Let's try and give one to see the Similani some space. Damien Delindy, first crash ball, quick receiver. Then try and exploit it. Let's stop kicking all the possession away. I think it's probably because that's how we play. So, you know, you need to say, right, Elton, I need you to go out and execute a nice, solid kicking game. That's not what he does, though. It's not what a lot of these players do. So let's not limit them to that. Let's let them play some of their own game. He needs to channel it into Benetton here. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, this Bulls side lost to Benetton. Now they're busy beating our second team, national second team. A couple of resets here, so it's a bit of a messy start to the shaft, just typical. And it's another penalty. It's a it's a penalty for the SAA, so that's a nice victory for them. And I think they'll be wanting to see a lot of those. Because I think there's a couple of question marks around a lot of these props. So if they can try and sort of string together a few penalties, that will relieve a lot of pressure. At about the 65-minute mark, I'll be dropping the player ratings. We'll be going live a bit later. We're going to be rating. I'll tell you what, at the moment, we're going to be ripping apart the SAA later. On the back of this performance so far. It's a decent kick by Alton Yankees, who found some possession right down the 22. So it's a nice attacking opportunity here for the SAA early on. Going for another more here, which actually hasn't really worked so far for SAA. Going a bit backwards though. Can they peel off? All as they use it once, it's all falling apart for the SAA. So Reinach is desperately trying to get on it, but I think that Zach Berger's got hands on it. He does have hands on it to Zach Berger, and I think the Bulls are going to turn this over, in fact. Yeah, they've got all their hands, all the forwards are piled in there. It's going to be a turnover ball. This bloody SAA pack is being not dominated, not completely dominated, but they're being matched one by one by this Bulls pack. And that's why we're not dominating. How many times have we tried going with that rolling maul? It's not working. We're going to have to try something else here, chaps, because it's just not working. I mean, that maul was never particularly well set. Never got any sort of momentum. Was told to use it and they couldn't. It's just, yeah, it's frustrating. It's frustrating. I mean, what we were all hoping to see, you know, a really nice game of the SAA going out there and expressing themselves and saying, this is what I bring to the party. This is what I can do. And at the moment, I don't think too many of them are. Well, they're taking it quickly out of the SAA. The ball went on to touch there off the back line. And they're taking it quickly into Quacker Smith. And the SAA, when taking it quickly, they've now lost the ball. Just slow things down. So the Bulls have won the possession back. So they'll go to Mornay Smith to try and create a bit of a better angle there. I think Zach Berger's saving for the box kick. He won't find touch though. So Rasmus Peck was going to run to us a bit of pace. Runs into, I think it's Steenkamp there. All right, Reinhardt goes to Joseph Dwebe sitting in the midfield. First time you're going to see him in a bit of open space. Makes a couple of meters there. Now, blindside here for Apple Fassi. Steps away from Koblog, but eventually gets wrapped up. Slow ball here from Reinhardt. We really haven't been getting a lot of quick ball. Johnny Dupree gets away from two, stands up and gets eventually brought down by a couple. That's a nice carry from him. Reinhardt now going down the left. Quacker Smith has just got up into Fassies. We got away from Zach Berger. David Creel eventually brings him down. Quacker Smith making quite a few meters. Reinhardt now. It's been knocked forward. Just stop complicating things. Really? I mean, it was Jean-Luc Dupree who had Damon DeLindy right next to him and then decided to just pop out to him. So Damon DeLindy, I think he's knocked a couple on now so far. I reckon we need to see some subs soon because Rusty, this chap's just not looking good. And if these players aren't doing well, I mean, you can't be dropping that. I mean, it's not a bad idea from Jean-Luc Dupree. He's already being tackled, so if he gets the pop away, then Damon DeLindy can make a few meters ahead, and he just fumbles it ahead. That's not good, not good. Yeah, in terms of substitutions, I'd like to see Zen and Humber get a run out. I think that I think I'd like to see us add a little bit of impetus to our attack and try and get the ball out a little bit quicker. I think he's a bit of a live wire, very instinctive scrum off, who I think will like playing with Elton Yankees. So I think those are two players I'd like to see. I think I'd like to see Damien Delindi get some. I'm not Delindi, Damien Willemse get some time to express himself. I think he's looked very good at inside center when he's come on. Decent scrum there from the Bulls, and Hudson's got a lot of time to introduce that boot. He hasn't really been finding touch a lot, and again, it doesn't find touch, and it's a penalty for offside there. Never onside is the call, so a poor mistake there from the Bulls to allow the SA right back into Bulls territory. So they go to the corner, do the SAA. It's his own car who was offside. Yeah, he's completely offside off the back of the scrum and just keeps running. Never. I don't know what you're complaining about, mate. You were never onside. Which channel on DSTV? It's on Supersport Grandstand or 211, I think, or whatever the rugby channel is. The maul has not worked at all. All game, but they persist with the maul. Such an exciting backline, but they stick to the maul. Is there some competition we're not aware of? You can rugby. It's bizarre. And they've lost it. This SAA scrum and pack has been horrible. Can we just, they're up in the stands. Get Etzebeth on. Get Malcolm Marks on. Get bloody Trevor back on at this stage. It's horrible. At this stage, I'm going to give the entire SAA backline a free pass because their forwards have been appalling. Right, I played it faster in the counter-attack here. Once again, not finding it. Oh, that's a good run there from Oscar Speck, but he's burst through. This will be a try. Goes out to Rubens Reynolds, probably a little bit early. He's brought down by Jan Goosen, and he takes it out. So Roscoe Speckman, too early on the pass. They're not really sucking in the defender. And it'll be a lineup for the Bulls. Almost a chance there from the backline to create something out of nothing. But falling apart. It was a fantastic run by Roscoe Speckman. He burst through the two defenders. Probably gave the pass off a little bit early here. I think Goosen almost really committed. So I think if it held on to it, he actually probably could have gone past him. Trying to do that unselfish thing there, Roscoe Speckman, which probably was actually the wrong option. And the Bulls have lost the line out, so now they've given it back to SAA. We've got Sene Hammer back on. That's good to see for him. I'm glad we'll see around for him. So half an hour. And it's been knocked on by the SAA. Horrible. So Goosen will kick ahead. I'll tell you what, I reckon the British and Irish Lions, as you're watching this, thinking, right, chaps, if we get 5 injuries in that box squad in that first game, we're sorted. Because if this is the best that our pack can do, it's not been good. And it's not even the case, if the Bulls are just really branched up and we saw some massive individual performances, that's one thing. But it's just been the basic errors that have been so poor. Just knock-ons, bad line-outs. I think Joseph Dweber is coming off here, actually. I think Faison Barty could be coming on. Yep, Faison Barty's on, so I don't think it's a great run-out for Joseph Dweber. He didn't look particularly good at line-out time. He lost a lot of line-outs. They're just as well. I can't find the stats because I think if we look at them, that's a horrible pass from Sanela Nahamba now to Alton Yankees who spilled it forward. It's just been horrible. So Bulls now attacking. They're going through the hands here. Cornel Hendrick straightens, runs into Quacker Smith and David Delini, so he's driven back. Advantage over there from the knock-on. Tell you what, Faison Barty, for as much as I reckon he's sort of 5th, 6th choice, could be playing himself into bloody test contention at the moment. That's a nice defensive read there by Nahamba. He wraps up his car. But there's an advantage, I think, for offside from the SAA, so they'll go back for another penalty. It's just been a horrible, horrible game, isn't it? On the halfway line, Johan Goosen will be able to pump this towards the 22. He's got a huge boot, so he's about to show the SAA just how big that boot is. Finds touch inside the 22. There's a horrible pass by Nahamba there from Alton Yankees. Under a little bit of pressure, but right at the ankles. It's a high tackle from Vincent Koch. So just for a change, our props not standing up and making a good account of themselves. We've got Keegan Johannes now on for the Bulls. Solid line, I'll take this. So they're going to try them. We'll see if them all can do better in the SAA. It's gone straight down. Not illegally, though, and it's available. I mean, just Quacker Smith almost turning that over. It's a big clean up by him, and then he managed to get hands on the ball, but the Bulls have come away with it through Krobala. Keegan Johannes now going down the side, and it's gone out to touch. Nizam Khan are trying to create something. Right, so Wilco Lowe is on the park now for SA. Chance for him to try and make something. I think our props had every single chance of trying to do, get themselves into contention, and they haven't done a good account. So, I mean, Nizam Khan there knocking the ball out. Well, he wasn't even supposed to be in the squad, was Wilco Lowe. Brought him because of the COVID crisis, and now has a very nice chance now to sort of play his way into contention. That's a messy line win there from SAA, and the Bulls have won it back. It's Nizam Khan who's going out to the left. They've got plenty of numbers to SAA. Harold Forster cuts inside, runs into Similani and Damien DeLindy. And DeLindy, that's brilliant pressure from him, and he's turned the ball over. Really, really good work from DeLindy there. I believe Fassi picks up and goes a little bit isolated, trying to hold him up. The support comes through, so it should be available for Nahamba. He gives it to Quacker Smith. Probably been one of the better forwards today, I think, is Quacker Smith. Right, so now Nahamba will introduce his boot for the first time. It's gone straight up. It's not gone very far. And Yao Penklay's come away with it. That's a poor contest from the Bulls. Quick ball, and Sanela Nahamba once again to the boot, but it's been charged down. Goes out into touch, so it will be an SAA put-in. So, yeah, Sanela Nahamba trying to spot some face space in the back there. I wish he'd stop chewing gum. Like, I mean, I know it's a strange thing to worry about, but it's such an eyesore every single time I see him with his big I'm all the time. How do you chew gum when you're playing rugby? I can understand cricket, when you're sitting out there for hours and hours and hours. But how do you chew gum while you play rugby? I don't understand it. How does that piece of gum last the game? And it's another messy line out. Pheasant Barter comes away with it. Gives it to Alton Yankee, who just spreads it to Jesse Creel, who's on the park. Looks like he's on for one to see a Similani, which is a bit frustrating because I think he didn't have much of a chance to give him an account. He got a yellow card to run to see a Similani, so that's what we saw of him. What a waste of his bloody last couple of months. Didn't get to play against the British Irish Lions. Played today and didn't get much opportunity. Got a yellow card for being offside thing. Right, so Sanela Nahamba will introduce his boot. Once again, he goes very high, finds a bit more space. Roscoe Speckman desperately trying to get himself into contention, but it's a solid take by David Creel, not under pressure. Carries it up for the Bulls. Keegan Johannes now on the field. Goes down the blind side. FC Duplessis steps inside. A couple of offloads. Number 20 is Arno Buerta's on the field. Marco Mustard now over his teammate trying to win a penalty. But it's offside at the pillar is the call against the SAA. Oh my goodness. Sorry, let me get back to the comments here. The forwards have been very average today. Due to penalty from Nizam Khan. Who's going to be the man of the match? The ref. Yeah, I don't think he's any man of the match. Roscoe's pass to early Dre will not be happy with his performance. I think he knew. I think when he walked off, you could see he knew he hadn't put a decent performance. Australia versus France was a crazy game. What was the final score there? Actually, I didn't get obviously focusing on this. My pet says generally garbage rugby, handling errors everywhere, poor passes, bad decision making. Hopefully the bench can bring some quality. Well, Vance Rensburg has just won that lineout. It's a very nice lineout still there for him. Bulls trying to go to the back of the lineout. Vian says, hey, quite said, damn, wish I could watch this game. They're not showing in the UK. Well, I don't think you're missing much, to be honest. It's been very, very messy. Alton Yankees now kicks to touch. It's a nice touch finder on the halfway line. Roscoe Speckman, that's much better. It's the lineout win, create a bit of an angle. And Yankees has put us on the halfway line. Horrible passage of play. Choo-choo train, yes. Wilco Lowe, the most woodwork teacher looking person ever. He's just a unit as Wilco Lowe. Number 6, I think it looks like Jasper Vies is on for Markham and Stone, so we'll see Quacker Smith moving on to the flank, one imagines. So a chance now for SPV to stand up here, because I don't think anybody else is really, you know, sort of covered themselves in glory. So if he can put in a nice cameo here, can definitely get into that starting. Oh, it's a very good inside ball there from Harold Forster. A couple of missed tackles, and President Barter is there to clean up. Great tackle there from Yankees. That's a very good defensive. I think it's President Barter again. President Barter looks like a player possessed though. I reckon he's made about 4 or 5 tackles since coming on. Jan Goosen dabbing it over the top. This will be well read and marked by Damien. I think is it updated Fassi? Yeah, I think it's Fassi at the back there. Oh, my clock's not even showing. That's a disaster. And it hasn't been going either. So let me update the clock here. 57:25 is the time on the clock. Right, so they say, well, the Bulls will have a defensive line on the halfway line. The last one they had was won by Nico Janssen Rensburg. It was actually a nice line win. But it's a better win there from the Bulls. They got a Ruan Okia. Immediately pop it up to Kobola. It's a horrible pass, but it's well picked up by... Oh, that's a horrible tackle by Damien Willemse. No, it was low. I thought it was high. The way he hits it, I thought it looked like a high tackle. But apparently it's low, so in which case, crack on, Damien. Probably hit him about here. I thought it would have gone a bit high, so it didn't look good. It looked like a little bit like a... Well, quickly taken, yeah, but Keegan hands off the penalty. Good handling here. Creel, that's very nice. Oh, and he's on car, spills it forward. President Barter is there to clean up. Well, he's been everywhere since coming on. Jesse Creel picks up and goes to the base of the ruck. Hands off Keegan Johannes. That's a bit of abuse. Oh, he gets it inside to John-Luc Dupria, who then decides to give it to Ruan Okia. That's you. He's wearing a blue shirt. Right, over the top here for the Bulls here. Ono Buerta goes over the top to Harold Forster. He sucks in one defender. Marco Janssen Furen. Oh, that's a big hit on him from Elton Yankees. Well done. They were marauding there, and Elton Yankees drops his shoulder and smashes him into touch. Captain's tackle, that one. They're taking it quickly, have they? And Jasper Visas carries it up. Trying to speed up the game here on both sides. Fez and Barton are carrying it up. I just want to see our backline being used. You know, use the backline. We've got a backline, people. The hammer goes to Willemse now at first receiver, and he'll use his boot. Kicking it deep. There's nobody back for the Bulls, so I think if this bounces favorably, no, it'll stay in touch. No, it will eventually. So David Creel's a little bit slow getting there. That's a really nice touch find in the end by David Willemse, who spotted a lot of space out the back there. Sub 14. Just having a replay of that Yankees pass. Just really, really good. Jocko Janssen Furen was marauding down that touchline. That sucked him in and created the overlap. The big tackle on him. Probably the tackle of the game, actually. That and the Damien and Lindy one on Cornel Hendricks. But that was a hospital pass, whereas that was a nice hit. Right, we've got Spoon Corsi now on Young for Yao Penkler, who probably didn't impress, but again, it was difficult to impress behind this pack. She's only 14-0. It's a miracle at any points on the board. Yeah, it's been a horrible game. I think Upland Fast has been quite bright when he's had the ball from the back. You know, he scored the one of 2 tries today. So I think we've got most of our players with the bench. I'm trying to think of who's not on the bench. Yeah, we've got our entire bench on. And it's actually the subs I wanted to see. I want to see Alton Yankees play a full game. And I want to see Damien Willemse at inside center, which we will see. We've seen Jesse Creel in the centers. Now we've got Spoon and Corsi on as well. So under a bit of a... They didn't even contest there to the SAA, which is bizarre, given the fact that they're inside the Bulls 22. Okay, Johannes now going to person who's in the pocket. And once again, he'll find touch, but he can take it quickly. They go inside to Update Fassi, who goes to Roscoe Speckman. Oh, that's a very good run by Roscoe Speckman. Speckman is broken through. Has he got the pace to go all the way? That's much better. Oh, the pass can't handle it, but it stays in, though. It was another great pass and break by Roscoe Speckman. A bit of a miracle pass out wide towards Alton Yankees, who can't hold on. Yeah, I mean, you can see it lands in front of Yankees, and it's very difficult to try and think. Daniel Williams there to clean up. So, yeah, once again, Roscoe Speckman, it's another brilliant break, but that final product just not quite being up to standard. If that had gone to hand, it was try time. But he's been really, really exciting when he's had a bit of space with Roscoe Speckman. You can see, on the counter-attack, he's one of the most explosive players in world rugby. I'll just update the clock now because we're a little bit... Actually, I think we're about a minute behind. Ball's out. Messi from the Bulls. Cornel Hendricks trying to clean up. Word of the day is Messi at the moment. Bulls done a lot of pressure here from the SAA. They've won it over. They've turned it over, have the SAA. Much better there. But now it's been turned over by Jan Goosen. But now it's popped up back for the SAA. So, I mean, just trading possessions a lot at the moment. Jean-Luc Dupree will carry this up. Would love to see the actual stats on this game so far. I've tried finding them, but just doesn't seem... I think the only people are actually SuperSport themselves who are doing the stats. So I can't find any of the stats. If I find them, I'll share them. Beautiful tackle from Alton. Yeah, it's a very nice tackle from him. Up in Fassi now on the side. A lot of stepping and then slips. So we'll go back for the penalty advantage. Please take a scrum. Oh, it's not got advantage. You have to take a scrum. I just want to see a scrum. Solid platform. Boom. Yankees, Willemse, Creel. Let's see what this bloody backline can do. The only time the backline have had the ball is on the counter attack. Because this pack has really not put us into a really good opportunity to try and dominate. It really has been quite disappointing, if I'm being brutally honest. I see Alton's board of our fours not doing the work, putting in big tackles, now turning into a feature. And Francois Spray says, on which DSTV channel is this showing? It's on Grandstand. I'm on Grandstand. So I don't know. I assume it's on... I think maybe it might have been France versus Australia on the Rugby channel. But this is on Grandstand, which is 201 these days. The source is Alton, you boss. And it's a penalty for the SAA on the scrum. Alton, we take another one. No, don't take the line out. The line out's been shit, man. We're taking a line out. The line outs have been so horrible. The scrums have been messy. The line outs are messy. It's just been a very messy game. Not at all what we wanted to see today. I was really hoping for some... You know, I mean, it's kind of what I expect to see from the Bulls because they front it up and they try to keep it quite physical and quite tight. But it's another line-out lost by the SAA. Was that Reynard Ulster who's just dropped that? So they've kicked it downfield. So Roscoe Speckman, well, here we go. Once again, can he create something out of nothing? Well, he runs straight into the forwards there. Then Hamburg goes to Pheasant Barter. He puts his head down. Quick ball from Nahamba. There we go. Alton Yankees now. Willemse. Oh, he holds on this Fassi. It came off his chest. It almost looked like he knocked it forward. Better, yeah, from SAA. Nahamba goes to Wilco Low. It's a big hit on him. Now, quick ball, yeah. Quick ball. That's it. Goes to Alton Yankees, who brings in Thomas Dutoy. Much better. This is looking much better. Krabbelaar trying to sort of turn it over. He's got hands on the ball. There, there's Krabbelaar. And he's lost. And he's won it for. And then he's won a penalty. But that's just poor rucking. It's poor rucking. It looked so much better. Nice go forward ball. A couple of phases. And it's a fantastic win on the ground by Johan Krabbelaar, but you've got to say the ball protection was really poor. Right, do these guys have some stats for us? Live stats available for kickoff. Yeah, there's no stats at the moment, so unfortunately, I can't tell you guys what the stats are. But anyway, the Lions have too many wins. They've only got 2 wins. Alan Wynne Jones and Wynne Jones. Aim is not to win the game. Lions need as we need to get better. Yeah, but you know, at the same time, what's the point of playing the game if we can't let our backline try and run off the back? And Jesse Creel has been taking a smack to the face there. Doesn't look very happy about life. Oh, that's a fantastic run by Jan Goosen, who's burst in here. Inside ball comes to Keegan Johannes. Keegan Johannes is over. It's been coming. It's been coming. The SAA have not been putting the Bulls to bed, which I know is probably not the point of the game. But Goosen has been decent today. Had some very good moments, had some poor moments as well. But Goosen, you know, showing his speed there. Good pop around there, and you know, it's a little bit of obstruction, but I mean, they just competed. I mean, I think it was Jean-Luc Deprier and Thomas du Toit, and he ran through that gap, split the defense easily. Inside ball to Keegan Johannes, and he didn't get touched at Keegan Johannes. Really, really good from Johan Goosen there. Spotted the mismatch. Yeah, I think Johan Goosen would be a good option in the box squad. I think for somebody, I mean, we're talking about a fullback, for example, the fact that we're worried about fullback. I mean, Johan Goosen covers a lot of different positions. So he'll add the extra 2. Lunak here with the overlap as Thomas du Toit and Deprier, who are the 2 defenders, and there's just so much space. And he commits up really fast here. Inside ball, brilliant support play from Keegan Johannes, who then goes over. Poor from the SAA. Really poor. It's a dream, though, isn't it? When you look up and you're seeing Jean-Luc Deprier and Thomas du Toit, and you're thinking, here we go. Give me the ball, Skip. Right, Alton Yankees will go deep with his restart. And Goosen now going himself. Inside ball there to... It's to WC Steelco, I think. It was Muller Ace. Oh, and again, they're still going. SUDC kicks inside. Is there support play? Is there support play? They're going to be over. The Bulls are over. They've gone end to end. End to end. The Bulls are going to level things up here. SAA in tatters. In tatters. Goosen, once again, inside ball, far too easy. And the SAA defense, well, it's just nowhere. It's absolutely nowhere. They ran their hands. Jake White, you can see what it means to him. He's up. But the SA are being punished for just not being good enough. Rightly so. Rightly so. It's Quacker Smith who's broken too early. And Johan Goosen's gone inside ball. Muller Ace there. Perfect time tackle. Speckman's there to cover. And the FCWC does brilliantly. A lot of players on him. So he sees that his players are in the middle. So he kicks it back towards the middle. And Jan Grobbelaar with his support runners up there. Maybe a bit of a dodgy pass there from Johan Goosen, actually. I think maybe a potential forward pass that might have been looked at. Yeah, I think we had to look at that. I think we could be potential forward pass there. Really nicely played by SUWC. He knows he doesn't have the pace, so he kicks it in field. What's the worst that's going to happen? Brendan Bowman, I thought the point of this game was to get the proper Springboks players game time for the Lions. Well, who do you want to play? Most of them are in Johannesburg. So, look, there's still Damien Delindy's playing, Kubas Reynolds playing, Quacker Smith's playing. You know, we could have Jean-Luc Deprier could have to play. So I think that, you know, you had to give everybody game time because if there are injuries and if there are players in isolation, these players then become proper Springboks. Really fastly returning once again after the kickoff. It's 14-14 with 11 minutes to go. The SAA under pressure. And it's the forwards who just haven't pitched up. Right, Alton Yankees going to his boot, lifting it up once again. He's right on the edge of the 22. David Creel takes it. Jan Goosen, he gets away from Russell Speckman. He makes a half tackle there. A couple of afters there between Goosen and Speckman. But he's back, and Alton Yankees will try and alleviate a bit of pressure and find some touch. Doesn't find touch, though. Oh, that's a brilliant inside step from FC Duplessis. Bulls have got their tails up. Owls do have tails, so they've got their tails up. Cornel Hendricks, Nizam Carr gets wrapped up, but he gets the pass away. Nizam Carr now filling in at scrum half. The Bulls are suddenly very up for it, and this SAA side look a little bit shell-shocked. Going wide, yeah. Good read from Speckman, but he gets away with the pass. There's always needs to be numbers out wide, yeah. Quacker Smith making the tackle there with, I think it was JC Creel. Wilco low over that. Thomas Toy trying to win that ball. But to no avail. Still available for the Bulls. Jan Goosen going quite deep there. He'll force the chips over the top for Nizam Carr. And outside ball to Marco Jansen Fury. Has he got the pace? Well, Spoon Corsi brings him down, but they get the ball away. I think he knocks it on. Straight into touch, I think, is the call for Marco Jansen Fury. It almost looked out on the wide there. I mean, Nizam Carr just committing Alton Yankees and then getting the pass away. Spoon Corsi makes the pass, and yeah, his foot does go into it. It's a big carrying tackle from Spoon Corsi. But jeepers, the Bulls look like the much better side at the moment, and the SAA just don't know what to do. Shell-shocked is the only way I can describe it. It's not been a good game for the SAA. The forwards, I think in particular, we need to look at them. I mean, the scrums have been horrible. The lineouts have been horrible. And as the backline, Johan Clausen goes off. Really, really nice game for him. Interesting to see where he plays. You know, he's been operating a lot at outside center for Montpellier. Yeah, I still want to go back and look at this pass, though. I must admit, I think it's a little bit forward. He's made some good runs there as Jan Goosen. But he's had the opportunity to, you know, he's been able to. He's had space where he can make those sort of carries and he can do that. The SAA, I'll say we because I'm probably more aligned with the SAA than I am with the Bulls, have just been a bit nowhere. I understand that we're trying to sort of, you know, fix the line on stuff like that, but really, I think, you know, should have taken more scrums, should have just, yeah, it's just not been good. Not been good. Right, so Lizo Koboka, they were allowed 24-man squad, so Lizo Koboka is on the field for Thomas Latoy. Chris says, well, I can't believe the score just jumped on now. Mark says, SAA forwards have been useless. This game isn't on TV in New Zealand. I think it's only down here. Well, okay, pick the Bulls players there. And Ryan Stevens says the combination not working for SAA. Well, they've won a penalty here of the SAA. You know, I always say that, you know, you win the battle up front, you win and it goes a long way to winning the match. And that's pretty much what's happened. This SAA pack has been unable to dominate a Bulls pack. And it's not a phenomenal Bulls pack. It's a very good Bulls pack. It's a very solid pack. But you cannot be being out-scrammed here. You cannot be having lineouts so poor like that. It really has not been good. I think we know why Rusty didn't want to play Jake right tonight. I mean, the SAA has been quite sloppy. You can see it's a side that haven't played together, haven't really gelled. But I just think that, you know, the game plan has obviously been to kick as much as possible. I don't know why. Another lineout lost for the SAA. It's been so poor. The forwards have been absolutely nowhere. The Bulls winning it back here. I'm going to try and see if I can write, if they show some stats, I'm going to try and see if I can write them down for our post-match. Another knock-on from the SAA. It's another line I'd lost. It's just been... Chris says, has any of the SAA players put up their hands for box selection? Well, we can ask the chat. Has anybody impressed you? I mean, fun fact, I'll end the poll now and it'll show you what everybody reckons thought the end result was going to be. Ryan Simon, why have we the SAA side not kicked enough at goal? Keep going for the lineouts. I don't mind that. I think, you know, at the end of the day, we don't want to, it's not a game that you need to win. It's a game you need to try and sort of fix your things. But I don't understand why we didn't go for more scrums or even a freaking pick up and go. The lineouts have been so horrible. I'm trying to think of any. So yeah, I'll ask people in the chat. Is there anybody that you've been impressed with today in the SAA? Because in the pack, I think they've all been pretty average, pretty garbage actually. Scrum's gone down there. Roscoe Speckman's been, I believe Fast has probably been the best backline player because, and I'll say this because they've kicked deep over the balls and not found touch, and he's had space and actually been able to get on the ball and be able to run forward. Whereas, I mean, Damien Delende, I want to see the Similani were dead in the water today. They weren't getting any ball because the instruction was to kick all the time, kick possession back. We never looked to keep the ball in hand. You know, the kicking game hasn't been, I wouldn't say it's been bad. I mean, most up and unders from, you know, Fassi and Alton Yankees and Kubas Redon have been contestable. we haven't been winning them. Jal Penkle and Roscoe Speckman didn't really offer much in the air in terms of being able to win possession back. Penalty again against the SAA scrum. So it's difficult to judge them. I thought Kuba's Radok was a little bit slow at the breakdown, not really getting the ball going. And you can just see that you've got some really exciting players in Alton Yankees and Apelele Fassi and Roscoe Speckman in, you know, Wandisile Similani, and yet they didn't. And now ballsy, Chris Smith has come on, and on the halfway line, I said we're going to kick a goal to try and win this game with 4 minutes to go. So I've been really, really frustrated. How did Delendi go? He wasn't good. He didn't. I mean, I felt sorry for him. He didn't have a lot. But he must knock the ball on two, maybe twice. Made a couple of tackles. Made a good turnover towards the end, just before he got pulled off. Who will potentially be our forwards on the bench for Lions first test? I'm kind of worried about our props coming off the bench of the series. I don't even know. Don't even ask me about that now. I need some time to reflect. And he says, I think Speckman was good. He was good, but the final product was a little bit off for Roscoe Speckman. But, you know, he made some nice runs, looked quite exciting. So will Chris Smith have the distance here? It's on the halfway line. It's looking good. It's looking good. It'll sail over. The Bulls are in the lead, everybody. With 5 minutes to go, the Bulls have got a 3-point lead. Not his best performance. I think it's Delendi. Yeah, agreed. Did they give some game time to Damien Willemse? Yeah, he's been on. He had a nice kick. He's looked decent on defense as Damien Willemse. Yankees hasn't been bad. Yeah, he's been fine. He's been average. He's not. It's just not the way he plays. You know, he's kicked so much that I don't think he should be kicking. We need to keep the ball in the hand here. Viren says, I hope the kicking is the box keeping their cards close to their chest because both games now just kicking. Yeah, it's just been so frustrating to watch. I mean, if that's what they need to do to try and show that this is not how we play, then that's what you need to do. But it hasn't made for a good spectacle. Nice win off the kickoff there from the Bulls with a fine touch on the halfway line. So SAA have got 4 minutes to try and get inside the Bulls half and try and save themselves from a bit of embarrassment. Chris says he should be right when he plays against the Lions. Class is permanent. He needed the game time. Chris in the utility back for the box. I think we'll all see him soon. I think it's, you know, he's been very good for Montpellier. Bulls look good. How has Jean-Luc been playing? Well, he was the one who probably, you know, he's half at 50% at fault for this try, the first try the Bulls scored. Him and Thomas Dutoy, not picking up their man. Werner, for sure, you can't show the game. It's illegal. So take your frustration and stop trying to look something illegal and getting pissed off people are not showing it. Christian should get Bok recall. Sar said 3-year turnaround for Delendi, and he was a monster again Wednesday. Yeah, I wasn't upset with Delendi's performance because we knew he played well on Wednesday. But yeah, as I said, it's so difficult to really go after this backline because the forwards have been that bad. They really have been that bad. And then the instruction has been from Radok and the Yankees to just kick the ball. So yeah, I don't know if it's a case where we wanted to just defend today and we wanted to work on our defense and just, you know, make sure we don't show anything of what we've got for next weekend. Pheasant Barter's broken off the back of the maul. Go yourself, mate. His attack, about to say his knees are living on the ground, Marius. I don't think he's been phenomenal today, by the way, Marius van der Westhuizen. Oh, he's over. He's over. Has he got grounding? Has he got grounding? It's held up. I think they had advantage, though, to the SAA. Joseph Trevor was poor, especially at line-out time. Yeah, once again, I mean, Pheasant Barter came on. He was also struggled at line-out time. So it's really not looking good there. Person man of the match, yeah, probably, I think. To be fair, this is a damn good Bulls team. Andrew says, my other issue is Alton Yankees is just not good. He's been fine. What has Alton Yankees done wrong today, really? He's kicked as he's been told to kick. He made a try-saving tackle earlier. So he's been fine. As I said, I think it's difficult. I mean, even Jal Penkle, who a lot of people are saying... A lot of people are saying that Jal Penkle was poor, but again, you know, all he had to do was run down, kick ahead all the time. So that's not a great way to really sort of express yourself as a wing. Right, so it's a big scrum, yeah, big opportunity. I reckon this in theory, if this is a good scrum, it's going to be this should be try time. It's a scrum in the perfect area. You've got Damien Willemse sitting on the right-hand side. You've got Alton Yankee sitting on the left-hand side. So you can go either way. If it's a solid platform, you know, you've got to try and back the SA to score. Kristen says hard to play behind a pack that's not dominating, which is what it sounds like. Alton plays well behind a dominant pack. Yeah, and the problem is that I don't think he's been given license to run with the ball, which Jan Goosen had the license to run with the ball. Because, you know, Yankees doesn't like to kick if he doesn't have to. And today you could see the amount of times he's kicked, it's a clear game plan issue. Same as Morning State on Wednesday, you know, kicked a lot of ball away. I hope the British Irish Lions and their fans underestimate us before next weekend. The Springbok team next week will be ready mentally and physically. Another reset here. So we'll pretty much go into extra time by the time we eventually get the scrum. Zanzi Comic Club says Alton Yankees was good. Too many handling errors. The scrum also hasn't been good great for SAA. Goosen was just on another level. Pollard gives us a lot of forward ball. Goosen is class. Well, the problem is that you kind of you want your scrum to be the go forward ball, don't you? You want your scrum to give you space behind your attack, and we managed to give some of the most exciting attacking players in South Africa absolutely nothing to work with. So it's been frustrating. It's been a very frustrating. So the main issue is forwards, which says to me locks front row are only as good as the locks, and if the scrum is not quick, you're pretty stuffed. Well, here we go. Quacker Smith has broken off the scrum. He runs straight into his car. And they have to, it's an advantage here. They've got an advantage. And the Humber goes to Boboka, but he's knocked it on. So it's another penalty here for the SAA, which I imagine we've got another penalty. I mean, the siren has just gone here. So they're looking for a tap and go, I think, is the call. Yep, tap and go on Nicholas Jans van Rensburg, who's a little bit isolated. The guy's a little bit slow to get there. And they've knocked it on. They're going to lose. They've lost. The SAA have gone down against the Bulls. Well, there we go, everybody. What a shock result there. Well, Jake White has done it. Jake White has orchestrated a upset. Rassie Erasmus has got a wry smile on his hand. And I'll tell you what, this SAA side will have not covered themselves in glory. Big questions asked. I don't know if it's a case of not trying to show their hand and kicking away and doing anything like that. But yeah, it's not been a good game. It's not been a game. Full time in Cape Town, 17 points to 14. Jake White, that's another feather in his cap. Chris says, what's the news on Vili? Will he be ready for the first game? He's vital to the box. Hopefully we'll find out something about it in the post-match. Remember that we played the same poor kicking game in all the matches leading up to the World Cup final. Could we see the surprise Springbok conclusions from the Bulls after this game? I don't think so. Not a good performance by SAA. Well played for the Bulls to pull it back. Wow. Why am I happy? Good Bulls. New beginning. Yeah, well, there it is, everybody. So thank you very much for hanging out. It was a very scrappy game. I'd like to think that's the case of the SAA not trying to show what they're about. Because just far too much kicking, not enough running with ball in hand, and just set pieces. The forwards were horrible today. Horrible. Thank you very much for hanging out. Please do smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel as well. We'll be live in about 45 minutes. We'll try to go live at about 3:30 maybe for the player rating show. So I'm going to put the link in the comments right now. You can go and rate all the players. So I think the SAA could be under a little bit of a personal attack when it comes to these ratings. So I'm going to put the link in the description. There it is. Go and vote right now on that link over there. Go and vote for your players and see what you thought about that game. And then we'll be live in about 45 minutes, a half past, depending on the press conference. We'll be live to go and talk you through that. SA selectors under pressure. Would have been nice to see Nizam playing for the Box. Well played Bulls. Chop all the players. Well, there we go. That's it. Please go and vote on those players. And I'll see you guys in about 45 minutes for the player rating show. Thank you very much. And I'll see you.